Hi guys, hope you're doing really well out there, and I hope you are enjoying your crumbs of freedom given to you by your lovely caring governments. Obviously I won't talk too much about that because bad things happen to me otherwise, and I get strikes and things like that. So we will avoid the obvious. I think if people haven't worked out that by now, then I don't think they ever will. So anyway, I am back today with another New Age review video, and again, as I said in the last one, getting loads of emails, really great feedback from people that were once trapped in that cul-de-sac and have found themselves no further forward, or even worse, realizing that really and truly the whole New Age scene is a big scam. And it's important to do these videos because, you know, it really points out where these deceptions are, and they are very well hidden, and you blink and you miss them almost. And I'm certainly not saying believe everything I say, and obviously show discernment with the things that I say as well, but it's so great to see so many people having this like awakening from the awakening. So many people have awoken into this kind of false sense of spirituality, which is just really another layer of the matrix. And there's a lot of people out there obviously propagating all of this BS, some knowingly, some unknowingly. And this guy that I'm going to review right now, Feel Good, he's been one that has been suggested many times to me. I've had a lot of emails about him to review his work. Now he's in with the whole kind of Lorie Ladd, Magenta Pixie, Laura Eisenhower, you know, that kind of Jeffrey Daugherty, that kind of like seems to be the circle, that hornet's nest that I kind of upset a few months back. So it's going to be interesting listening to what he said. I've been through a couple of other videos this morning, and as always, they're really hard to get through. So we'll get straight into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, give the video a like or a thumbs down. It all helps trigger those algorithms. And so let's get right into it. I mean, just before we do, the first thing that I notice just energetically with a lot of these New Agers, these quote unquote spiritual people, is when it's the eyes. It's almost like when you look at them, it's almost like the lights are on but no one's home. It's like they speak, but there's something literally false or fake behind them that's kind of empty. And just looking at the face there, that just the eyes are kind of like vacant. And you see this look so much, so often within the New Age movement. So that's the first thing that I pick up on without even going any further. So let's have a look, listen to what he's got to say.
Hello, Care Bears.
Oh, Care Bears, my God. The first sentence is a cringe fest already.
I haven't done a video like this in a really long time in the daytime, when I haven't meditated yet, when I'm really just feeling super chillax, super chill. I was going to go down to the hot tub right now and relax, but I was tapped on my shoulder to do one of these videos, which I haven't done in probably over a year. If you like this format, let me know in the comments below. And thank you for everyone who has taken the time to subscribe. I really appreciate you. I wanted to do a quick check-in with you today to discuss how...
Another thing that I notice, and this might trigger a lot of people, but I'm going to say it anyway, is, and it's actually something that I wanted to make an individual video about, and maybe I will moving forward, but the New Age movement, this spiritual scene, really feminizes men. Now, that I just get real super feminine energy, and of course there is an agenda to knock out the alpha male energy, the strong masculine presence in this world, because if you can do that, then you become a doddle to control, because the alpha males are supposedly the first line of defense. You know, the male energy is that of the protector, the provider, all that kind of stuff. And we're seeing across society so much feminization of men And I really, really believe that the New Age spiritual scene really amplifies that in a lot of men. And this is what I'm getting with this guy. Also, you add into that the whole, vegan thing with all the soy and all of that, the female hormone estrogen and everything. We're really seeing a war on male energy. And as I said before, it's something that is very prominent to me, how feminized a lot of these men in the New Age scene are. Just that his whole energy to me is very, very feminine.
How we're all being asked right now to prioritize love, spirit, over fear, ego.
So here we go again, the demonization of the ego. In the New Age, you've probably heard me say they want to they try and demonize the ego. They try and demonize the mind. They want everyone to be this like New Age blank canvas, no independent thought, no critical thought, no oomph, no drive, no anger, no nothing. Because if you do any of that, then you're stuck in the ego or you're stuck in the mind. What does that mean to a controlling force? Well, that's dangerous to a controlling force, because if you have your own mind, aka your ego, you start questioning things, you start judging, which is the other thing that they hate. Then you might conclude that you're being used as a slave, your energy's being siphoned off, and you might actually do something about it. So if they can keep you away from really a part of who you are, you absolutely 100% need a healthy ego in this reality to function, then they've got you. So destruction of the ego, destruction of the mind. Within the first minute, we're already seeing the deceptions here.
And I thought of the perfect example to delineate the concept. So let's imagine that you have a date this evening, and you're getting ready for it, you're excited about it, you're looking forward to meeting this person, and then you show up and this person's a no-show. So they flake on you, and you start to freak out. You pick up your phone, you call a friend, you're like, can you believe they flaked on me? That would be demonstrative of a trauma response. So I want you to take a moment right now to tune into that energy. You got all beautied up for this.
So basically he's just promoting the idea again that we should just accept BS behaviour. We should just roll over and love everyone that steps over our boundaries. I mean, don't get me wrong, if someone doesn't turn up, I'm not going to give them a whole load of my energy. So he's right in some ways, but I think where this is going, and we'll see, is that this is going to lead on to just accepting any kind of BS behaviour and not setting any boundaries, which again, who does that benefit? A force of which wants to control.
Date, and then you show up and they're not there. And how so many of us are prone to go to that place where we lose our marbles a little bit, where we get really worked up, and then we tell our family and friends about it. That's more of a trauma response. I want you to really feel into that energy right now. Can you believe they didn't show up? Right? Okay. And then I want you to tune into the energy of love. Love would be understanding. Love would be perhaps slightly disappointed, but then you would pick yourself back up and say, maybe they were afraid. Maybe they got really scared. Maybe my photos intimidated them. Maybe they're new to this.
Dude needs to get off Tinder.
And I want you to feel into that. That's heart. That's love. That's spirit.
No, it's being a wet lettuce and not setting any boundaries. I mean, the example he uses is pretty crap, right? Because, yeah, in a way, you don't want to give a person like that too much of your energy. But being in love and sending them love, and, this is the same thing playing out. This is the idea that they want to promote, that people that abuse, i.e. government, other people, we should just send them love. We should just accept, because that's better for us. That is extremely, extremely bad advice. And not only is it bad advice, if you have got a trigger or a trauma, and you're just going around forgiving and loving people that step on your boundaries, things are not going to get better.
That is unconditional acceptance.
That's unconditional foolishness.
And there's a big window for us to step into these bigger shoes now. To not get reaction.
Oh, they're so cringy. They're so, like, holier than thou, the way they talk down on people. I just can't stand that energy. I mean, there's a way to deliver information, and it's just so cringe, the way it's like this channeled material, this new age material comes from a I'm holier than thou, I know better than you. Don't get me wrong, people have different nuggets of knowledge and information, and there's no getting away that you can know certain truths and that kind of thing. But it's just the delivery with these people. It's just comes across as so arrogant, like talking down to you like you're a child.
When your family shares something with you that isn't to your liking. To not get mad at friends if they don't call you back. To really honor and appreciate the fact that everyone is doing what's best for them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. That's the whole problem with this world. People are living me, what's in it for me, I'm alright, Jack lives. And what's happened? What is the result of that? Absolute tyranny, chaos, loss of rights, loss of freedoms. That is the underlying point of what is wrong with this world. Moral relativism. You know, that is one of the satanic sins. And here he is promoting that idea that we should just accept and love these people that are stuck in a satanic mindset.
And I know that can be a little bit of a hard pill to swallow at times, but just imagine how differently the world would look if everyone said to themselves, everyone in my life is following
Satanism.
their highest resonance right now.
Oh yeah, they're following the highest resonance. They're in the vortex. They're all in the me vortex, and now we have utopia. My God. Excuse me, I need to grab the New Age sick bucket. Where is it? Where's the New Age sick bucket?
They're doing exactly what they want to do. So if they're not responding to my text, it's probably because I'm not a priority in this.
To be fair, mate, I probably wouldn't respond to your text either. No offense.
Moment for them. Maybe they're watching a movie. Maybe they are working. Maybe they don't feel like getting back to you. And guess what? That's okay, because now you start to move into this role
of being a doormat. How empowering.
That you're ready to assume a role where you honor everyone's self-empowerment. Their journey to empowerment or their journey of self-empowerment, you're honoring everyone in your life. So you're untethering yourself from all these.
So hang on a minute. Let's just say, for argument's sake, this dude has got someone in his life that abused him. So what? He was just doing what was in his highest vibration, and he should just accept and love him for that. I mean, where do you draw the line on this BS? And people swallow this. They're sucking this up. And it's damaged. This is why I do these videos. It makes me so angry, because the clients that I work with, so many clients that I work with, follow or have followed this stuff. And they're in a much worse position. It's so dangerous.
Unhealthy expectations that lead to disappointment. and then we feel disillusioned. So I want you to go back to that scenario. You go on a date, the person flakes on you, it doesn't feel good. But could you maybe catch that potential response in time and say, maybe this person was afraid. Maybe they meant well. Maybe they intended to come, but the fear got the best of them.
Or maybe they're just a low quality human that didn't have the decency to send a text to cancel. Because let's face it, most humans out there right now are pretty much low quality. So I don't know if that's a behaviour that should be acceptable. I agree, you wouldn't get hung up on it, but he's going way too far with this, and he's trying to promote something else here, which is, again, very subtle, but also very dangerous.
So, love is so much more powerful than fear. Fear is...
Do you know what a true definition of love is? Self-respect. Self-respect is an expression of self-love. And if someone's going to treat you like dirt and you don't walk away or set strong boundaries, then you're not showing yourself any self-respect, and therefore you are not in the frequency of love.
You or me or us perpetuating a cycle that is so vicious. So if this person who was supposed to show up at the date doesn't show up, they were afraid. And then think of how we multiply that energy when we get on our soapbox and we start to point fingers and we start to complain about it. It only magnifies the fear, it only multiplies the fear. How are we going to shift this entire human collective? We're going to shift this entire human collective by selecting love.
Okay, so again, as we see with all these big time New Agers, the idea that you can just somehow shift into a different reality and not experience what we're experiencing here, just by being in this kind of frequency of love. And then, of course, you're not going to be subject to the same BS, the lockdowns, the masks and all stuff like that. It gets people out of their body in cloud cuckoo land.
And by electing ourselves as the ambassadors for love.
The hypnotic stares as well. They're always there in these videos. Completely hypnotic stares. It freaks me out, it really does.
Most people don't have the consciousness capacity or the emotional bandwidth to go there.
Of course, you're so elevated. You're so elevated in your consciousness.
To be that. It doesn't necessarily suggest that they're bad people. Not at all. What it is that there's a petrified aspect. There's a traumatized aspect that is still being housed in their energetic system, in their physiological body, in the bones, in the flesh, in everything. Because trauma lodges itself, it deposits itself into the body. And so whenever we do get triggered and we pick up the phone and we complain about what just happened, all we're doing is we're shoving that trauma back down as opposed to letting it move up and out of the body.
Right, yeah. So this is how they deal with trauma, is they promote this idea of allowance, and that by allowing your trauma to rise to the surface and releasing it, whatever the hell that means, that is somehow dealing with it. It's not dealing with it. What that is spiritual bypassing. To properly heal trauma can take months and years to properly heal. But they don't talk about that. They just talk about letting things rise, letting things go, and then it's healed.
You have to start seeing it as an ice cube. So the trauma is an energy that was transferred to you, or it was an impact that happened, like a car collision. And it's like this hard ice cube because it wasn't dealt with. So it got harder and harder and harder over time. What we want to do is breathe into that aspect to melt it away. This is not an overnight process.
So there you go, guys. That's all you need to do. Breathe into your trauma. If you've been sexually abused, just breathe into it and it will just magically fall away. Thanks, Phil. Great advice. Why don't we just pretend that it never happened in the first place? Maybe that might even be easier.
By any means. But this is you liberating your soul. This is you choosing a better life for yourself. This is you improving your state of being. And everything gets better when you see life through that lens.
So everything gets better when you just allow. Same shit, different day. Everything will get better if we just allow tyranny to play out. If we don't resist, if we don't stand up to anything, if we don't set boundaries. Everything, just allow all of that and everything will be fine. This is why so many people are coming out of this movement now and seeing it for what it is. Because of information like this, it doesn't make any kind of sense.
Our traumas color our perception. So if you can imagine these green tinted goggles or these blue tinted glasses, your traumas will skew what you see. They will color what you see. If you look at the sky with yellow tinted glasses, it's going to appear to be green. So it doesn't matter what happens, you'll always see what's occurring in your outer world through that lens. And so what we want to start being proactive in is, can I breathe into that ice cube? Or can I maybe put on a different pair of goggles that's clear? Or
Exactly. What does that mean? Put on a different pair of goggles. Pretend that it didn't happen. Oh my God. Oh dear.
no goggles at all, and that way you can
No goggles
receive
now.
it as it's happening, as opposed to through the perceptions that you hold that then decorate your experience, or the traumas that you hold that then color your perception.
What they do as well is they boggle people's minds with all these with the new age word salad. They drop in all these buzzwords, mix them all up into a big soup, and then dish it out. And then everyone's like, It's just like, it's literally spell casting. And the way the guy is looking at the video with those false white light eyes, staring right at you, getting into your head, this is sorcery at play.
Everything that's occurred to us in our life is still with us. So what happens is it ends up, you know what's really interesting? I'm sorry, just sidebar. I'm at 9 minutes, and I do 9-minute videos on Instagram every day, and this feels completely different. It's so weird. I'm just having a moment right now.
Wow.
Maybe because I'm speaking to a different audience. Because on Instagram, I share like this, but I feel like I've been talking longer. That's what's so crazy.
It feels like you've been talking longer, mate.
So,
trust me.
Everything that you still hold in your energetic system is going to be projected outwardly. And we project because we don't want to deal with. We project because we're not wanting to attend to that aspect of ourselves that is petrified, traumatized, in fear.
Stop looking at me like that.
The only way that we can start to alter our reality is by altering our inner realm. Because otherwise you're on that hamster wheel or on that roundabout and you can't get...
Yeah, there's the half-truth, of course. But how he's saying do it, by melting ice cubes and just allowing things to move up and out, it's not going to get anyone anywhere.
Get off of it. So anytime people have an adverse reaction to you, or they respond from a place of fear, like that person that might have flaked on you for that day, that is not the divine being that they are. The reason why they flaked is because they're still holding trauma. And I tend to believe that we're all, I know this to be true, that we're all interconnected via the subconscious. So we can sometimes psychically attack other people based on how we react to them. So that
That's
person
true.
that flicked on you, they were already afraid. And then you then end up responding to that, and you multiply the fear energy. So on a psychic level, you might be hurting them, or maybe you were hurting them before they showed up. Let's go quantum for a minute. You were hurting them before they showed up, or they maybe picked up on that aspect of yourself, and that's what daunted them. That's what sent them into that I'm afraid to go. Because it's all interconnected. See, the human mind is linear. The human mind wants to convince us that there's an event that happens before and then an event that happens afterward, which is true. But the truer reality is that it's all happening at once. All of it is happening at once. And dogs know this sometimes. They know when an earthquake is coming.
See, I think on one level we are all connected, but I'm very much doubting this whole new age thing right now of, we're completely connected. I very much feel that we have our own individual paths. We have our own egos, our own personality. We have our own trajectory, if you like, individually, that we can reach. So I feel like there is perhaps a nugget of truth in that somehow, but because that concept's been promoted so heavily within the new age, I have started to even question that in some aspects. So
before it happens. So it could be that that person was picking up on what your response prospectively was, and then they were afraid because they picked up on that shadow, which by the way is their own shadow. But then what we want to do is alleviate that. How do we do this? We break the cycle that we've been in. We break the cycle of getting mad.
Yeah, never get angry at anything. Another deception. You should never get angry about anything. Just stay in love and light. Don't get angry about things that are justified. just accept and be a complete rollover in life. Let people stamp all over you. Don't set boundaries. And no thanks.
We break the cycle of venting to our friends about what just happened. That person wasn't deliberately causing you harm. Even if they didn't text you after and said, hey, I'm really sorry, I'm afraid, that would be obviously more vulnerable and more transparent. But what if they were so afraid that they couldn't show up? We have to forgive everyone. We also have to forgive ourselves for having been...
We have to... Did he just say we have to forgive everyone? See, again, that also makes me very angry, because we don't have to forgive everyone, nor should we forgive everyone. For example, if someone has abused you in childhood, why does that person automatically deserve forgiveness? Especially without even so much of an apology, right? This is what gets promoted so much. Just forgive anyone, even if they've done terrible things to you, because that will somehow heal you. It doesn't heal you at all. It can make it worse. And again, you have to look at how this being put out there would benefit a controlling force, how getting people into that mindset of just forgiving would benefit governments, world leaders, the 1%, whatever you want to refer to them as, because whatever the tyranny they're raging, whatever they're doing to the children of this world, if you can get people in a just forgive mindset, that's great for them. That's great. They don't have to worry. They don't have to worry about being held to account. And they won't be, because no one will be angry. Everyone will just accept. Can you see how subtle the deceptions are? On the surface, what he sounds, if you're new to this, what he says sounds very innocent. Almost sounds very nice. And human beings, being empathic, and our natural state probably is more siding towards love, they're gonna want to go with it and run with this. But it's not, you can't just go around saying just forgive everyone and just accept everything. It's just spiritual bypassing once again. But again, it's so subtle in the delivery that if you're not aware, you'll miss it, and you'll buy into these belief systems, and you'll go on and on through life not getting any further forward and damaging yourself.
Been reactive our whole lives. We have to forgive ourselves for having psychically attacked other people and ourselves. Can you tell that my energy is really different in the daytime? I'm very human. I'm very chill.
No, it's terrible.
When Lorie and I were in Mexico, she's like, "You're
fake.
so chill." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me most of the day." So we want to start soothing ourselves. We want to break out of these cycles, because remember that every cycle that you find yourself caught in it's somewhat like a fly. It's very much like a fly.
See, this is what makes these things so hard to watch sometimes. They start recycling things that don't make sense and turning them inside out and then throwing in new buzzwords, and it's like none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense what you're saying. It's just irritating. It's just annoying.
That's caught in a spider web. Every cycle that you find yourself caught in, it corresponds to an aspect of the 3D matrix that you're also trapped in.
Yeah, and so are you, mate. So are you. So don't start pretending to everyone that you're on the new Earth or in 5D, because you're not. You're very much in this reality as well, even if you think you're not.
This is really important, because the 3D matrix is riddled in trauma. And so the 3D matrix, its entire purpose is to control the human. And even if you become illuminated or enlightened,
like you,
the contrast will never end, because the matrix is relentless when it comes to trying to suck you back in. Relentless, just like your patterns are. So can you see how they're the same thing? Can you see the parallel between you and your personal patterning, and then you and being caught in the matrix? They're one and the same. As above, so below. It's the exact same thing. So
is this guy, is he saying that he doesn't have any traumas or he doesn't have any triggers and that he's now out of the matrix? Because that's kind of like the underlying message, that everyone else with their traumas and their triggers, we're all stuck in the matrix, but he's not.
And that coincides as well with when you heal your body, you're healing the planet, because the planetary body is your personal body, it's your biological system. But I don't want to digress. So you have the matrix system that wants to keep you encaged or entrapped. And then you have these patterns that you hold that are keeping you entrapped. If you were liberated, if you were absolving yourself of your patterning, you would no longer be.
So we just melt ice cubes and then we ascend into 5D New Earth. That's what I'm taking from this video. That's the underlying message here. Just allow things to come up and dissolve somehow, however that works. And then you're not in 3D anymore. Is that what you're saying, Phil?
In vibrational accord with the third dimensional templates, with those aspects of
raise your vibration, peace,
3D that keep you in that cage. So how do we break out of the matrix? We break
Drum roll.
out of the matrix by breaking out of our personal matrix. And how do we break out of our personal matrix? We start to pour love into ourselves. Buckets upon buckets upon buckets of love.
Excuse me. That wasn't a bucket of love, that was my new age bucket.
And I want to remind you tonight, well today, but it's your tonight, that it's just choice. That's what it boils down to. You're choosing. So you've been choosing to get mad, you've been choosing to vent. We all do this, so there's no judgment here.
Of course there's no judgment. You're not allowed to judge. Judging is bad. Never judge anyone. Even if they're abusing children or taking away the rights and freedoms. Never judge. Just accept. And drink buckets of love.
You've been choosing to get mad. You've been choosing to complain. You've been choosing the woe is me. You've been choosing the pity parties. So the more that you choose, every time you choose, you reinforce that pattern. You strengthen that pattern. Just like if you always choose fear, you strengthen the fact that you're caught in the matrix, and it makes it much more difficult to leave the matrix. If someone is terrified of leaving their job and they're always choosing fear over the possibility of leaving that job, they're strengthening that pattern. And so they're less likely to move to Hawaii tomorrow on a whim than the person who hasn't been choosing fear. The person who hasn't been choosing fear is more in tune with their intuition, with their intuitive technology. They know, okay, I'm supposed to move tonight, or I'm supposed to move tomorrow, or I'm not supposed to move at all, because there's none of that murkiness or that muddiness or that contamination in their waters. There's no blurriness, there's no fuzziness, it's all there.
I'm feeling really blurred out just listening to this.
They can see clear. They don't have that green tinted goggle.
Tinted goggles, the irony. The irony of talking about tinted goggles with your rose tinted goggles.
So any pattern that you hold that has been solidified, deeply, deeply solidified within your being, it's going to take a while to unwire and to rewire yourself. It's going to take a while because you have to choose the opposite of everything that you've been doing for a while. So
see, again, this is a deception. There's the truth, which, yeah, it's going to take a while. And then there's the deception in the fact that you can just choose not to, or you can choose to experience a different reality and bypass the things that you really need to address and deal with.
So that you can untangle that knot. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
So if you want to break out of the 3D matrix, it's first acknowledging that it's all you.
And buckets of love.
The stuff that you come up against in your outer life that may not have to do with your patterning has everything to do with your patterning.
Repeat.
So it's about becoming more cognizant of our own behaviors, more cognizant of these patterns that we keep acting on and multiplying and strengthening and reinforcing. It's choosing love. 5D is love.
Oh my God. Sorry. 5D is love, guys. Choose love. Choose your timeline. This is what they all repeat. Magenta, Lorie, this guy, Laura, Eisenhower. The idea that you can just, on a day-to-day basis, you can choose to be in 5D, the new Earth. You're not here anymore if you choose that. You're not subject to all the tyranny that's going on if you just wake up and you choose to be in 5D and pour buckets of love down your throat with your rose-tinted glasses.
It's unity consciousness. It's this person was terrified of showing up on my date, and I'm not going to take it personally. I will choose love. I will choose to see them as a divine being. And 3D is separation. It's divisive. How could this person do this to me? It keeps you stuck in victimhood. It keeps you stuck in the perpetrator as well.
I just want to know where he draws the line on this. He's used going on a date, but where does he draw the line on what we should just accept and forgive and love? Because he hasn't mentioned any sort of line in the sand. He hasn't mentioned, look, if someone abuses you or does this, then yeah, of course, you need to set a strong boundary and you need to do some real work to heal that and go into that. But there is no boundaries. This is the new age personified. There is no boundaries. And it just allows for more of the same. It allows for more abuse. Because if you don't resist something, it persists.
Because it's a roundabout. And that's all you're doing. Roundabout, roundabout, roundabout. It's similar to saying, once I have the car, I'll be happy. Once I achieve this, then I'll be able to relax. That's the 3D matrix. It's separation. Because what you're trying to achieve technically isn't separate from you. But someone won't be able to see that if they're not in their heart. If they're not in a unified space. When you're in a higher state of consciousness, you can see it all.
Of course, Phil. Just like yourself, you can see it all.
All. And you become the glue for everything that is seemingly separate. And so reacting to someone not showing up or reacting to someone not texting us back, that only keeps the separation going. So remember, 5D is unity and it is love. 3D is separation. It's divisive. It's fear. And fear wants you in its grips so that you can be manageable, so that you can be controllable, so that you can be programmable. That's what it wants. Fear has its own consciousness, but it cannot dominate you, or it cannot control you, or manage you, unless you believe it to be real. Is it really real?
Again, this is more bypassing. Yeah, I mean, there is some truth in what he's saying, but there are things that in this world that need to be addressed to make our life experience more enjoyable, aka you could say safer, and or more liberated. So, just avoiding those things is going to lead to a lesser human experience.
That person wanted to cause you harm by not showing up on that day. Is that really the truth? It could be a truth, but can you maybe entertain a different truth?
Yeah, just make it up as you go along.
Maybe they were afraid. And you'll always know when you're expanding yourself, when you click.
That's called integrity and morality. If someone doesn't do that and they don't tell you and they just don't show up, that is a lack of integrity and a lack of morality. Should not be sent love.
Into that sweet spot, like that feels like love. Maybe they were afraid. You're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you.
No, you're not doing it for you at all. You're giving someone who treated you like shit more of your energy when they don't deserve it.
You're doing it for you.
There's a stare.
I hope this message resonates.
No.
Let's start choosing love over fear. Let's start choosing 5D over all these stories that keep us stuck in the field of trauma. How's that? I love that. The field of trauma, which only perpetuates drama. That's all it does. That's all drama. Pick it up on your phone, tell your mom about it, drama. Let's start reducing. Let's start doing control damage. We reduce the melodramas. We tend to our traumas. We melt away those ice cubes. We pour love into ourselves. And as we do so, we are pouring the glue that is going to bring everything together and unify us as the whole that we are. So if you'd like to support my messages, I really appreciate it, because this is basically mostly what I'm doing now.
I'm just going to stop it there because he's finished and I can't take any more of it. I've listened to this guy all morning now, but yeah, same story, just a different face. Huge following with loads of subscribers, loads of views, that just really promoting the idea of spiritual bypassing, packaged up as just forgive anything, just forgive everyone, you know, just melt away your trauma, don't really deal with it as such, just allow tyranny to run wild, allow people to just step over boundaries. All very, very dangerous information, all packaged up in a nice package of love and light. And yeah, there you go, guys. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on the next one, guys. You take care. Bye bye.